Hello everybody, this is Sandy Shellis and I am here with Environmental Coffee House and we're going to build an audience. Interesting title, huh? How does FERC and the New York State DEC have anything to do with global oceans circulation? I think this is going to be an interesting discussion and I'd like you to stay for it, share it, whatever you need to do. And Kim just came on and hi Kim, I love you too. Well, so I've been a little out of sorts. I have a visitor from California, and that's Mindy, who does our graphic arts, and we've been having a really great time. And some things have happened though that I have to talk about because I can't just let this stuff go by. I just can't. And so much is going on out there. Things that I'm not going to talk about today, but I do have information and I hope you can hear me because I don't know if I made this loud enough. Well, anyway, I always forget something, you know, I forget to make something, but I'm sure you can hear me. So, this is pretty serious news. I know I talked about in another live stream, I talked about, and I love you two girls too, two Kims are online with me today. I talked about how New York State was kick-ass in the fact that the New York State DEC, had turned down the Millennium's application to send their fracked gas to the CPV Valley plant that our Roger and Pramila Malik and James Cromwell and all these people have been protesting against in Orange County, New York through Protect Orange County, and it has been a big thing in New York, but it's also been something that we've been watching all over the country, probably all over the world, because it could be precedent setting. And what happened today is really, really disconcerting, and I am not sure if it's just administrative, if it's political, but we're going to go. We're going to start. So what happened here is the Millennium Pipeline Company is going to begin construction this fall on that pipeline that will supply the natural gas to that $900 million power plant that's under construction off it's Route 6 up in Slate Hill, Orange County. Beautiful area, beautiful farming area. They built this hideous monstrosity. I mean, it is just horrible. If you look it up, you look up Competitive Power Ventures, the CPV fracked gas plant, and you can see this hideous thing. And New York State had said, oh, no. You guys from the Millennium, you can't do this. Your application was received at a certain date, but you at FERC need to go back and do another environmental impact study, an assessment. And we were all thrilled about this. It was great, you know, great news, huh? So today, what's on here, yes, Kim, a no fracking state, but we're going to bring that gas from Pennsylvania. But today, on Friday, actually, what they did was FERC ruled that the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation waived its right to review the project by failing to act within a year of receiving Millennium's application for that crucial water quality permit. Now, this could be just dates. We don't know yet. The DEC had denied that permit in a decision late last month, demanding that an additional environmental review be completed, taking into account that only the impact of the pipeline, but also the emissions that would be generated by the power plant. Now, I did a live stream several weeks ago about what's in the air that's making people sick and making people behave certain ways, and that it really kicked me off because of the shit that's going to come out of this CPV fracked gas plant. Tons of pollutants, not just CO2. I read down a whole line of stuff, and I don't have it in front of me, but it is scary, to say the least, of the garbage that's going to come out of this plant in a rural New York area where it was farmlands and it was just beautiful. So they denied it, and Competitive Power Ventures, the developer of the 650 megawatt Valley Energy Center, they're saying, oh, they're going to complete this plant early next year. The decision FERC made, they said the DEC had waived its right to review the project pipeline because it did not issue a decision within a year, right, of receiving Millennial's November 2015 application. The DEC had argued that the one-year review didn't begin until August 31st, 2016, when it deemed Millennium's application to be complete. Now, very often in business, when you apply for something, the application is not complete until it is fulfilled, and all parts of the application are filled out properly. This did not happen, but FERC's playing games because they now want to say, oh no, we're going to exert power over you, New York State, because you have tried to screw us, basically. New York State said to FERC, screw you, and FERC is saying screw you right back, and probably has the president and his horsemen of the apocalypse right behind him. So it is semantics. In my opinion, this is very wrong. Now, Millennium plans to file the official request to proceed with FERC next week. And the company will likely head to court to secure a right-of-way access from 2 or 3 holdout property owners along the pipeline's proposed 7.8-mile route. And it's not just the 7.8-mile route. It's what's coming through it and where it's going to that hideous compression plant. It is terrible. It is awful. It is something that shouldn't be in New York. New York, really, I'm disappointed, but I understand the contractual things. I understand, because I worked in business, that this is completely semantics. Now, I tried to look up what the application process was to find out FERC, if they consider applications under the Gas Act, the Regulatory Act under piping, gasoline, petroleum products for the country, whether the date of submission is the date when the clock starts ticking or the date of fulfillment of a submission, okay? It's wrong. FERC is listening to these lawyers from Millennium because they're angry at New York and because they are reactionary and they're in the pocket of the fossil fuel industry. That's just all it is. This is what happened. And our governor really screwed up by letting this happen in New York State, by letting this plant happen, because New York could have been a leader in making change. New York, the whole state. I'm sitting here on my property with a beautiful creek in New York. We had to fight a pipeline in this county. New York really could have done it. New York could have made solar and windmills, which we have all over the counties where I live, mandatory though. And they could have made dates mandatory in cities where the energy had to be changed to a green energy type instead of this fossil fuel fracked gas plant, which is now going to lock this state into 40, 50 years, 30, 40, 50 years, if we have 30 or 50 years. You understand? 30 or 50 years, if we have that. Now, gee, how does this, what I'm talking about now in Orange County, New York, one fracked gas plant, how does this have anything to do with ocean, you say? How does it have anything to do with the ocean? Well, it does. And you know it does. Because every bit of crap, shit, air quality garbage that's going to come out of that CPV frack gas plant, all that, combined with all of everything that's in every other gas plant and all the other air pollution, is ruining our CO2, ruining the atmosphere, correct? Okay, so CO2 is dooming the atmosphere of the world, of the planet. CO2, the potential for methane is insanity. That could happen up in the Arctic. So what I wanted to do was talk about this Forbes magazine article that came out. There was 2 articles. Business Insider and Forbes discussed this. And this article to me is about something that probably, a lot of you, my peers, we're not scientists, again, I always say this, maybe don't know what AMOC is. And really what it is scientists have long known about this warming hole in the North Atlantic Ocean, which is an area immune to warming of Earth's oceans. This cool zone in the North Atlantic Ocean appears to be associated with a slowdown in the Atlantic Meridional Overturning circulation, which is AMOC, AMOC, guys. One of the key drivers in global ocean circulation, which completely controls weather, climate. So much of it does. There was a study in the journal Nature that outlined research by a team of Yale University and University of Southampton scientists. They had found that evidence that Arctic ice loss is potentially negatively impacting the planet's largest ocean circulation system. That's where the relationship is. All of the stuff we are pumping in the air, and hello to all of you. Everybody, Feather and Debbie and Kim and everybody that has joined. Again, I say when I'm on YouTube, they don't realize that I've got a live stream, audience sometimes. So the scientists, they do have some idea how this is going to affect the world. I mean, this is really uncharted territory we've never lived through. And they say that AMOC, being one of the largest current systems in the Atlantic Ocean and the world, generally speaking, it transports warm and salty water northward from the tropics to south and east of Greenland. This warm water, it cools to ambient water temperature, then it sinks as it is saltier and thus denser than the relatively more fresh surrounding water. The dense mass of water sinks to the base of the North Atlantic Ocean and is pushed south along the abyss of the Atlantic Ocean. Okay? So this process, whereby the water is transported into the northern Atlantic Ocean, it acts to distribute ocean water globally. What's more important, and the basis of concern here, and probably a lot of people already know this, but we may not, right? Is that the mechanism is one of the most efficient ways that the Earth transports heat from the tropics to the northern latitudes. So the warm water transported from the tropics to the North Atlantic releases heat to the atmosphere, playing a key role in warming of Western Europe. So you may have heard of the one of the more popular components of the AMOC, the Gulf Stream, which brings the warm tropical water to the western coast of Europe. So evidence is growing that the comparatively cold zone within the northern Atlantic could be due to a slowdown of this global ocean water certification directly caused by the garbage in the air. Hence, the slowdown in the planet's ability to transfer heat from the tropics to the northern latitudes. Cold zone could be due to the melting of the ice in Arctic and Greenland. It could cause a cold freshwater cap over the North Atlantic, inhibiting the sinking of those salty tropical waters. Now, this would in effect slow down that global circulation and hinder the transport of warm waters north. Now, there's a couple of different thought process that go into this, but the melting of that Arctic sea ice, and why is that melting? Why is that melting? Why? It has increased, and satellite images they indicate that in September the Arctic sea ice is 30% less today than it was in 1979, and I wouldn't bet that it's more. And we would ask my friend Torstein Vidal of the Arctic Sea Ice group on Facebook, because he charts this every day. And so it's been a trend, you know, that this sea ice melting during the summer months, it's not slowing, okay? I've been talking about this. Everybody's been talking about this. So we're going to see a continued weakening of this global ocean circulation system, and it is no joke. So the scenario of a collapse in AMOC, in the global ocean circulation, it was the premise for that movie. Do you remember The Day After Tomorrow? Everybody was freezing in New York City, whatever. It's a movie, okay? It may not be exactly what happens. Our geologists, you know, all over the world have studied events in the past similar to what appears to be happening today. And truthfully, scientists are really not sure what lies ahead. They really don't. This change, the AMOC, the decline, you know, declination to 2/3 of its former strength, which may be leading to some harsher winters in the UK and Western Europe, but that is not to go against global warming. So people have to understand that that is not against global warming. The cycle of fresher, warmer water moving north over southbound, salter, denser, cold water, that AMOC is so complex. And if there is a specter of a total collapse, a paradoxical warming scenario that would lead to far harsher winters and expanding ice sheets in the North Atlantic, it's not impossible, but it's a consequence of a warming climate, of a globally warming climate due to plants like the CPV Valley Frack plant that is going to spew out tons of different kinds of pollutants into the atmosphere and continue to destroy our Earth. So there was a paper published in Science Advances where a Yale geophysicist, Wei Liu, and his co-authors demonstrate what they say is a significant bias in existing climate models towards AMOC stability, and show how increased heat and CO2 in the atmosphere could directly lead to this collapse. I believe it's happening because of the people I speak with and the people that I read. Climate models overstabilize the AMOC, Liu told this Business Insider. The models show it's very stable, but even under global warming, they have only moderate weakening. The result, even as the rest of the world heats up, parts of Europe could see some cooling, you know, but they're talking about hundreds of years. I don't believe that's hundreds of years. I really don't see that happening. Liu says the next step for researchers is to run similar experiments across a diverse range of complex models. More model data will shine a brighter light on just how a total AMOC collapse, how likely it is, and what regions would be impacted. So you see, oceans and gas plants and the crap that comes out of the tailpipes in our cars and the shit that comes out of our fireplaces when we burn wood, everything is contributing. I mean, there's no way we're not going to contribute. But how fast this happens is up for debate. It's really up for debate. And as I am an Abrupt climate change person here that speaks about this, I try to talk to you, my peers, in terms that we can all understand, because, as again, we are not scientists. But the AMOC and the whole mechanism in the ocean is scary. And I'm sure Paul Beckwith has videos on this. In fact, I'm sure I watched one several months ago. But it just came up to me today because I happened to be reading about it. And with the CPV plant decision, which I really hope New York State goes after legally again, I don't know if New York State has exhausted their legal recourse. I really don't know. I hope that something happens. These people, these dedicated activists, just for years they've been working on this. Many of them went to jail. Many of them went to jail. And it's probably common knowledge, Lachlan. It's just not everybody knows everything. We don't. And the problem is that, you know, you some of the different groups or the scientific pages that we read have people that belong, that have so much more knowledge than we do. And somebody like me, I grasp at straws to learn it. And that's why I really depend on those people. You know, global warming is something that I am passionate about because the research bears it out. And recently we had someone on our page came on, and I don't have to say a name, it's just an individual came on and made several comments that insisted that we give up the global warming bullshit, quote, okay, give up the global warming bullshit and climate change and talk about geoengineering and HARP and all of that. Now, number one, this is Environmental Coffee House. I've got a team, my page. So first of all, somebody coming on to Environmental Coffee House to say what we should be doing, the way that this person did, nobody does that. Who does that? Who does that? This person did. And I wasn't happy, but of course, as I handle everything because I have the class that I do, I handled it properly, and I gave the person direction and told them, gee, if you want to learn and you want to stop saying that this is bullshit, I told them where to go, you know, nicely, to other people's websites. Not necessarily to go to hell, because I'm not that person. So let me show you what's going on around here. We had rain, and it is really lovely. We do have water, and I know everybody wanted to see the water in my creek, which is nice. I brought a chair back here to sit back here because I wanted to show you this. And water is life, guys, right? And a lot of you have seen this, and you've seen it dry. And I love it with water. It makes me happy. It really does. And Lachlan says, many say that what's bullshit? The global warming? Well, I will say that anything that is demonstrated by scientific method, scientific research, definitive answers. There's no debating science. Once a theory is proven, it's proven. Hello, Michelangelo. A lot of good. Michelangelo has joined us. Pretty wonderful. Michelangelo from Politics and Stuff, our 17-year-old wonder boy. You're a whiz. But when I have someone come on and tell me on my channel, my page, my group, what I have to do, what we have to do as a team, sorry. And it's wrong. And I hope that this person doesn't do it again, because they can go. They can just go. You know, I don't want to trip. They can just leave. I don't need that kind of person on the channel. And Bruce says facts are often inconvenient. Well, yes, they are, but they're true. I'm cutting out? All right. Well, I'm going to just say goodbye, and I really just wanted to give you guys that connection between our ocean and AMOC and what we're doing in Orange County. You know, we want land to look like this. Unpolluted, no pipelines under it. As natural as I can be, and that's not, because I don't have access to electric pickup trucks or anything like that, you know, I can't afford that, but thank you for coming. We have to protect our environment. It's the most important thing we have, but we also have to learn. Okay? And this is a scientific method page. And that's how we roll. But until I have facts and real facts on what is going on with what this person was insisting that we talk about and get off of bullshit climate change, I might report on that. But there are a lot of other people that are, so I don't have to. I'll keep using my facts, and I'll keep going to my scientists, and I will keep looking at the research. So everybody have a wonderful weekend. I've got Mindy, our graphic artist, here. I think I told you. She's here from California visiting, and it's been kind of neat. So you guys have a great time this weekend. Peace. I love you all. You know that. Science rules.